Good afternoon. Tell me, what do you think was the best racing game of the early 2000s? Need for Speed Most Wanted?
Gran Turismo? Perhaps Midnight Club? What about Street Legal Racing Redline? No? SLRR is one of those weirdly obscure games that you will have only heard about by watching someone play it on YouTube. It was never released for console, and as far as I'm aware, was never advertised. Now, despite being relatively obscure, this has gotta be the most, interesting racing game I've ever seen. To start with the many interesting details, there are absolutely no licensed cars in this game. However, there's about a dozen real-life tracks and hundreds of branded stickers that you can put on your car. But before we get into that, let's just take a look at what the actual game is like. Now, the first bad sign about this game is as soon as you launch it and realize you can't put it in full screen. Yeah, it's stuck in a window. I immediately go to the new career tab, give it the most appropriate name I can think of, and hit start. The game then throws you into an empty garage, giving you absolutely no tutorial or goal for the game. Just you and some money. However, if you have more than just 2 brain cells left, you'll soon figure out that there are 2 options for buying a car near the top of the screen. These options being new and used cars. And buddy, don't even think about going to the new dealership because you're a peasant and you can't afford their exquisite prices. So your only option for the start of the game is to head over to Joe's used car dealership. And good luck finding anything decent there because this game takes place in a universe where cars with no engines can still fetch over 10,000 bucks. Now the first thing you're gonna notice after you buy your car and take it back to the garage is that this game actually has pretty in-depth customization, especially for the time. Outside the garage, there's an open world where you can race other cars and even get into police chases. You might call this game a Need for Speed clone, but the very interesting thing is, this game actually predates Need for Speed Underground. So the truth is, this could very well be one of the first open world racing games ever. Heading back to the dealership, I purchased the least garbage of all the garbage and brought it back to the garage for
the modifications.
Before I could do that, however, that was a bit short on money. The only way to earn money quickly in this game is through street racing, which makes this a perfect time to explain just how that works. Throughout the previously mentioned open world, you'll find a bunch of modified looking cars driving around. These cars are people that you can actually race. Oh. There's 3 tiers of these drivers, the green garage, the blue garage, and the red garage, each tier being harder than the last but offering a bigger reward if you can beat them. Now alternatively, there's drag races during the nighttime. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this game has a day and night cycle. If you drive around at night, you can come across a bunch of cars lined up at a road. These are special racing events that only take place at night and can offer some pretty big rewards. Now, you could try to beat your opponents fairly, but I find that pit maneuvering everyone gives you a generally better chance of winning. And also, this can just happen. Call me a cheater if you want, but driving is a lot easier said than done in this game. Especially when there's absolutely no support for an Xbox controller and you're forced to drive with the arrow keys. And Lord have mercy on your poor soul if you get a car that has a manual gearbox. Upshift is A, C is clutch, and I have yet to find the downshift button. Useful for drag racing, not so much everything else. After several days of racing and completely destroying my car, it was time for
the modifications.
The first thing on my list was to repaint the car, since currently it looks like a blueberry got dropped in mud. Now painting is actually kind of interesting in this game. Like other games such as Forza, there's a color fill tool that you can use to paint individual body panels on your car, but there's also a free brush tool. This tool can allow you to pretend that you're Bob Ross on your car's door. Now I don't know what to call this game, but Happy Accident definitely isn't it.
2 hours later.
Here it is, the finished product. A true piece of automotive art. From its tri-tipped exhaust to its 144p decals, it truly is the ultimate thing. You know, I've just noticed, up here at the top of the screen there's this little key button, and when you press it, it lets you drive around in the garage. Ah, I see. I'm sure most of you will be glad to know Angel was unharmed in this accident. Now, in this game, if you break your car, you will have to spend the money fixing each individual part that is broken. So if you get into a big wreck and you don't have the money to fix all the parts on your car, well, well, that just sucks to be you, pal, I'm sorry. Anyway, I named this car the second biggest mistake I ever made. Let's go drive it for 5 minutes before I inevitably wreck it again. Nah, it appears this game can't even do text right. Yep, the car drives about as well as you'd expect. Now, I did try to get into some races just to see if this car is actually any good, but no one actually wanted to race me.
I wonder why.
So I switched over to nighttime in an attempt to look for some races that would actually accept me. Although, on the way there, I did happen to discover what button the handbrake was. After this scientific breakthrough, I might have gotten a little carried away. I was planning to end the video here, but there is one more odd thing about this game I haven't mentioned yet. Legal Racing Redline actually has several different versions of it that are available to download for free on the internet, which means I'm a doofus for paying for it on Steam. Now, I actually have one of these different versions of the game. We're going to be taking a look at Injected version 1.4.6. Now, if I had to guess, this version is definitely fan-made because it has licensed cars in it. However, it's a little bit more than just a mod pack for Street Legal Racing Redline because it changes some pretty substantial things about it. For one, you can put it in full screen. So let's just give it a quick overview before I end this video. Yeah, so there's been a change of plans. The game crashed nearly every single time I tried to record it, so instead I'm just going to give you a quick summary of what I found along with whatever footage I was able to get. The game has no sound whatsoever. The parts catalog is completely empty, which means you can't upgrade your car, so 90% of the game is just gone. Every car in the used dealership was a Volkswagen Harlequin. Every car in the new dealership has the same wheels, and the controls for driving were so god-awful I could actually feel my brain melting trying to figure them out. I honestly don't have anything to say about Injected other than, what were they thinking? Back to the original SLRR, it genuinely confuses me how little this game gets talked about. It had so many innovations for the time, yet for how little attention it gets, it might as well have not existed at all. If a racing game with this many features existed today, I really can't imagine it not being successful. Now apparently there is an official sequel in the works, but the last news update we got on that was 2 years ago, so if you're lucky, your grandchildren might live to play it, although judging from the pictures on Steam, I genuinely think the original looks better graphically. But if you look up early open world racing games, the original SLRR doesn't appear anywhere on the list, but Minecraft does apparently. Anyway, before I end this video, let's give our glorious ride a proper send-off.
Hadn't seen you around here in a while.
That has to be the most anticlimactic police chase I've ever seen. Well, thank you for watching. This took way longer than it should have to make. After reviewing the footage, I happened to notice this video came out pretty accidentally similar to another video by YouTuber ShinyOdd. So to stop people from calling me a content thief, please go check out his video. Anyway, that's all. Goodbye.